We got Lulu some new stairs. Hers were falling apart. We had her old stairs since 2016 and the foam was pretty much disintegrating. It was hard for her to go up the stairs because they would kind of like slope down and give way. But now she has new ones. These ones are pretty much the same height and width, but there are 3 steps, 3 wider steps instead of 4 more narrow steps. So she seems to like them. She's using them right away. She's sniffing them. And now she is staring at me because she knows I'm filming. Okay, Lulu. We're about to have family couch time. Hey everyone, it is Sunday and hubby is working this evening, so I'm just having a few snackies for dinner, and I wanted to tell you about this banana bread that I made. I put in some thyme from the Arrow Garden because we have so much of it. I just used the base recipe from my website. I used all of my frozen bananas. So I had frozen bananas for so long, just sitting in the freezer. I used to drink smoothies a lot, so I had kind of stocked up on frozen bananas, but I haven't been drinking smoothies regularly, so I had all of these frozen bananas in the freezer for a really long time, and I finally decided to use them. So this is the second time I've made banana bread in the past like week or two. I've used up all my frozen bananas, I've used up all my all-purpose flour. It just feels really good to me to use things up. I can't really see the thyme in the loaf very much. I used the leaves from around 5 or 6 sprigs, but you can definitely taste it. It's not overwhelming or overpowering. It's just a little hint that gives it a nice flavor. I really enjoy the flavor of thyme. I've been baking a lot lately, so I made 2 loaves of banana bread in the past couple of weeks. I also made a batch of granola, which I may make again this week because we were running low. This huge craving for baked goods. Hubby and I were watching a bunch of baking shows on Netflix. It made me crave cake, and watching baking show after baking show after baking show, I was like, oh, I really want something. So I decided to make brownies, which really hit the spot. I may make those again very soon. I also made the coconut flour bars that are on my website. Actually, all of these recipes are on my website, and those were really good too. Very filling because of the coconut flour, but super duper yummy. This is so good, and you can see a little bit of the thyme there, that little hint of green in this bite here. When I was walking home yesterday, this song popped into my head, this old song from the 90s that I used to love and listen to all the time. If you're around my age, you might remember it. It was released in 91, so I was 13 at the time. So I mentioned this to my friend. She's 2 years younger than me, but she had no idea what song this was. And I even sang it for her, like the beginning. So when I sang that little like do 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 do, and she was just like blank. I was like, okay, she doesn't know the song because it's so recognizable. Yeah, that's been in my head for 24 hours now. I totally don't mind because it's a very uplifting song. I even Googled the music video yesterday and I was watching it. Oh my goodness, so much nostalgia wrapped up in old songs. I really loved that age in my life. Grade 8 was one of my favorite years of my childhood. Grade 7 wasn't as good, which is when this song came out, but all of these songs from that time period, grade 7 and 8, kind of remind me of like that really special time in my life where I just felt really good. I mean, of course I went through regular kind of like coming of age angst, but still I look back on especially grade 8 so fondly. My favorite year of my childhood, for sure. Shanice, I love your smile. Makes me feel good. It is Sunday today and it's been a while since I've vlogged. It's been quite a busy week at my paid jobs and I've also been trying to work on my book. The class is going to be done as of this Wednesday, so I'm hoping I'm going to get into the groove of vlogging again. I just haven't remembered to take out the camera. I actually haven't even remembered to bring the camera. So yesterday, hubby and I went to a Jays game with a couple of our friends and I forgot to bring my vlogging camera. I have a couple of clips on my phone. Jay's game was fun. Very excited for this season of baseball. Our team in Toronto is supposed to be very good. Lots of hype around this team. We also got bobbleheads yesterday. Let me show you one. This is what we ended up getting, the George Springer bobblehead. I actually wasn't too interested in these. As you guys know, I haven't really been wanting to add anything to the home. Hubby was indifferent, although hubby does like this sort of thing, I think. It turns out our friends were interested because they said we can eventually resell these. So I thought that was interesting and I just have it on my shelf now. I don't know if I'm going to open it up to take a look at it. It is quite, I think, decent quality. It's very heavy, or heavier than I expected. Yeah, this is a fun little thing, an unexpected thing that I wasn't planning to get from the game. The game it was fun. I like sports, but it was very overwhelming. I was really tired yesterday. I woke up at the usual time around 6 a.m. and then our friends came over at noon. We had just barbecued hot dogs and sausages before the game. And then we went to the game and we went pretty early, so we were sitting in the seats for quite a while. I started getting pretty sleepy because that's the time that I usually have my nap. So I kind of tried to nap for a little bit since we were sitting there and nothing was going on. The game hadn't started yet. I tried to nap a little bit. Wasn't too successful, although I did close my eyes for a little while. And the game was good. The game was fun. Lots of people. It was pretty much sold out. So that was a lot of like mental stimulation. And then afterwards we came back to the condo and we watched the hockey game. That was fun as well, but I did get like very, very sleepy, like quiet sleepy. I was just very like zoned out by the end of the night. But it was a good day. I'm very tired today. I mean, I woke up on time. I'm feeling good, but I'm feeling like body tired. Hubby was saying yesterday that his body was aching from sitting in those hard plastic seats in the Rogers Center. And I didn't really notice at the time. I certainly wasn't feeling it last night. I was feeling pretty relaxed last night. I was like quite tired, so I was ready to go to bed. But this morning, I am feeling it. So much body exhaustion, a little bit of soreness because I decided to get like all of the groceries and things in the morning. So I was carrying a lot of stuff. And as you know, I walk everywhere. So my arm is a bit tired. My arm is a bit sore. And yeah, I'm definitely recovering from our day yesterday. It was a good day. It was a really good day. Just more than I'm used to. I'm very used to like my low-key routine, not too much excitement, just very like even-keeled day, and yesterday was a lot. I am out on my walk, taking it really slow today. A very easy and leisurely stroll. Did not feel like coming out today at all. It's a reasonably nice day though, a little bit chilly, but it's not raining. So I'm going to try to get all of my steps in and then head back to the condo and stay there for the rest of the day. Lulu's so tired after yesterday, so much excitement. She went down to see the concierge and then we had friends over, so she's really tired today.
So nice to see number 5, which was hidden for years by John Gibbons, who never wore his jersey out on the field. He always had it covered by some kind of a hoodie.
It is Sunday evening now, around 7:15 p.m., and I am pretty much ready for bed. I do have a few things I want to get done before I go to bed. I wanted to come on to talk about something that just popped into my head today. Yesterday, when our friends were over, we started talking about the advent calendar because the cubby system is on the wall and my friend was just looking at it. So that kind of led me to ask about Lent and whether my friends have given things up for Lent. But since we had that conversation, I've actually been thinking about it a lot, and I Googled Lent and the history behind it. And I also thought back to a former colleague of mine who gave up bread for Lent one year. And because this is the sort of thing I like to do, I like to challenge myself and try a bunch of experiments. I started thinking, well, what would I give up for Lent? And I couldn't really think of anything. So I just went on with the rest of my day. I never really answered the question. It was just something that kept popping in and out of my mind. But then I read this article. It's called No News is Good News. I guess it's a blog post. And it basically makes the case for quitting news cold turkey. And I have kind of like dived into this a little bit in terms of thinking about my media consumption, which is one of the chapters in my book. So I was like, maybe for Lent, I can give up news and Reddit because I spend so much time on Reddit now. And Reddit isn't all news. I look at a lot of cute things like rabbit posts and chihuahuas and just stuff like that, just like interests of mine. I follow this subreddit called Simple Living that's just very much what I'm into right now. I find it like a really great reflection of what I want for my life. So my Reddit feed is a mishmash of like fun and happy things and also very serious life things. Of course, I could curate my feed, I could unsubscribe, but I'm also thinking about, well, what if I spent that time that I'm on Reddit doing other things? For example, working on my book, or maybe reading a book that's on my list, my never ending list of books to read. Maybe I could use that time more wisely. So if you've been watching my vlogs for a while, you know when I get something in my head, I kind of want to do it right away. Don't really want to wait another year for Lent, the beginning of Lent, to roll around. So I'm going to do it right now. From now until Easter, I am going to give up news. I'm going to give up watching the news on TV. I'm giving up Twitter. I'm not on Twitter that much anyway. And I'm giving up Reddit. All of Reddit. So I'm going to commit to doing this for a week until Easter Sunday, even though Lent ends technically on Thursday. And then I'm going to see how I feel. The thing that I read in this article or blog post is that a lot of people say that they want to follow the news because they want to stay informed and they want to stay engaged and connected to the events of the world. They don't want to shield themselves. They don't want to kind of like have that ignorance is bliss mentality. And I totally agree with that. But he makes the point that important news or like really big news that either affects you directly or news that would, affect humanity at large, that news will find you. You don't need to seek it out. And in my experience, when I think back, that is true. Even when I am deep into kind of like my own work, when I'm focused on my own work and I'm not paying attention to the news does find me just through word of mouth. So hubby will come home and tell me a little something about the news, or I'll be talking to my coworkers and someone will bring up something that happened in the news, or like friends will email me and give me like their take on the news. The one thing I haven't thought about, and I think I will need to pause this as well, is I read Anti-Racism Daily every day. It's a daily newsletter. I think I am going to have to pause that because that includes the news. I also read something called Abnormal Returns, and I read that daily. That's actually where I found, ironically, that is where I found this article on quitting news cold turkey. So I do think I have to give those up. Oh, I hadn't thought of that before. I really I really enjoy those sources of information. Maybe I do need to think about this a little bit further because tomorrow I am going to have Anti-Racism Daily come into my inbox and I'll need to make a choice about whether or not I click on it and read the article. It is Monday morning now and I had quite an interesting evening. You saw my clip from last night where I was very much still in the process of deciding on this new experiment that I'm gonna do for the next week or so. And I think it was pretty obvious when I realized there were certain news items that I didn't want to give up, like Anti-Racism Daily and also Abnormal Returns, which is essentially a financial headlines website, but there's lots of different stuff on it, including that article that I mentioned yesterday about giving up the news, very meta. So I was really clinging on to those items. I was trying to find ways to keep them in my routine while still continuing on with the No News Challenge that I'm very excited to do. But there was really no way around it. I even thought about, okay, maybe I'll just check news in the morning and that'll be it for the rest of the day. It was a lot of excuses, a lot of feeling attached to being in the know about certain things. So I decided last night, after a lot of thought and consideration, I am gonna cut those for a week. Abnormal Returns, I basically just had an item on Tick and I would check it off every day. So I have paused that item. And then once the week is up on Easter Monday, I will decide at that point what I wanna do moving forward. Maybe I don't check it every day anymore. Maybe I check it every other day, or maybe I check it once a week. So I'm gonna see how I feel throughout this week. Yeah, maybe I do need a little break from that. And same with Anti-Racism Daily. That one was a bit more tricky because I do get that into my inbox as an email. So what I'm gonna do with that one is I'm gonna add a filter so it goes directly into a folder and I won't even see it in my inbox. I'll still have them there in case after this week I wanna look back on them. But maybe for that one as well, I just get the weekly digest instead of the daily digest. I already talked about Reddit, removed that app from my main screen. I've put it into a subfolder, so it's not like a muscle memory type automatic action for me to open that app. I'm also gonna do that with my Yahoo Finance app, which is where I scan stock prices and news articles. I'm gonna move that into a subfolder. I haven't done that yet because I didn't actually think of that yesterday. It didn't even cross my mind until later at night when I almost clicked on the finance app. Yesterday, when it was time for me to wind down, I found that I gravitated towards reading a book. It's been a long time since I've actually wanted to read a book. So I did some reading and that felt really good. I went to bed at my usual time, and I don't know if this was a function of what I was reading before I went to bed or whether I was just like really tired from the weekend. I had one of the best sleeps I've ever had. The Pillow app told me my sleep was at 94%, which is around, I think it's a 10% above my average. 94 is really, really high for me. I very rarely get over 90%. Usually it's in the 80s. So anything in the 90s, I'm always very excited. So at 94, I don't think I've seen it be that high ever. So I was like, oh, is this because I was super tired? Or maybe reading Reddit right before bed did affect my sleep quality. I mean, who knows? It's an ongoing experiment and I'm sure it'll fluctuate. I don't think it'll be 90% the entire week. I thought Reddit was bringing me a lot of relaxation and comfort before bed because I do start to get sleepy. And then I put my phone down and I can fall asleep right away. But maybe the content was affecting my quality of sleep in ways that I didn't realize. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I got a few ideas about my book right when I woke up. So I've already worked on my book. I've rearranged a lot of the paragraphs in my food chapter. I've cut out quite a bit and I've restructured a few paragraphs, rewritten a couple of paragraphs, and that was all this morning and it's not even 8 a.m. yet. Maybe not reading Reddit did free up a bit of my creative energy, and maybe the book that I'm reading also had something to do with that. I think hubby was right about the seats at the Rogers Center, the hard plastic, because I woke up with quite a bit of lower back pain today, which I haven't felt in a while. Sometimes I do get lower back pain when I'm on my period, but that's not the case this time. I'm nowhere close to my period. So I think it was the seating. I put on a pain patch this morning, and it's doing a lot better. I feel a lot looser and it doesn't hurt anymore. There's just a really nice cooling sensation. I'm gonna go for my walk now. I want to buy some bagels. There's a Kettlemans Bagel place that just opened near us, and we've already purchased 2 dozen bagels. This will be our 3rd time buying a dozen bagels. They're Montreal style bagels, and I really like them. So maybe I'll pass by the library, see if I can pick up my book. And I have to buy some hot dog buns because we are having leftover barbecued hot dogs for dinner tonight, which I am so excited about. I actually love hot dogs. They're just like, so delicious. All right, here I go. I actually did all of the things that I was intending to do, and I feel very good about getting a bunch of stuff off the list. I bought a dozen bagels, 6 all dressed and 6 sesame. They also gave me a free bagel. They are celebrating, I think she said their 100 millionth bagel. That seems like a lot. She gave me a free sesame one, which happens to be my favorite, so I'm very pleased about that. I'm going to have a bagel today as part of my first meal, and then I'm gonna slice them all and pop them in the freezer. I also picked up my broth on the way home. It is April 11th today, and our 3-month broth subscription expires on April 20th. So we've almost had the subscription for 3 months. We typically get 2 broths a day, one for me, one for hubby. They've added beef broth since I subscribed. I usually get the chicken, that one's my favorite one, and hubby's favorite is the beef, so we typically just stick to that, although sometimes I do branch out and get the beef. I haven't gotten the mushroom again, I haven't really been craving it, and I really do, as I mentioned before, want to drink the broth for the collagen. I haven't really noticed a difference, so I don't know if we're gonna renew our subscription. I'm gonna check with hubby and see what he thinks. I know he does enjoy the broth, so maybe we'll keep it going. I got the buns as planned. I also got some fruit because we are pretty much out of fruit. I got some strawberries, and we always have bananas. So I got some green bananas because these will take a few days to ripen, and we still have a couple more. Hubby brings this for lunch along with his overnight oats. That's it in terms of groceries. Here is the book that I picked up. This was actually recommended to me by one of my classmates. This is a new book. I think it just came out. I know she went out and bought it the day that it was released, and I read the description. It sounded really good, but I put it on hold a while ago. It took some time to make its way to me, so I don't remember much about it, but it is this book here. I needed a few more steps, so I just went out to grab hubby's broth, and on the way back I always pass this flower shop. It's actually where I got my neon pothos way back when, and that plant has been flourishing. I've propagated many long trailing vines from that plant, so I always have a soft spot for that flower shop. And today when I was walking home, I saw these fresh cut flowers sitting outside the shop, and there was this little sign that said, "Take a flower and enjoy." So I went ahead and picked out this one. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. I'm not very well versed in flowers, so I'm not sure what this is, but maybe one of you will know. It's very pretty. I just have it in a little bottle here. I'm gonna put it by my desk, but that really brightened up my day. I feel so good now. I'm just like ready to take on more work. It's been a really busy morning. I'm gonna get back to it, but I just wanted to pop on to say, oh my goodness, it's the little things. It's amazing what something so simple can do
for someone's day. I am going to end off the vlog here. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll give you an update in the next vlog as to how I did with the no news week, but so far so good. I'm feeling like this is going to be a good change for me. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.